Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Side to Side Sportscast, where it's your boys, Will and Wudi, and you know we come to break it all down from the court side, the ring side, the sidelines, and for those sports they play outdoors, we outside, we side to side. That's how we ride. And today we have a returning guest. Allow me to reintroduce my guy. His name is Nick. Nick to the Fry. Our guy, NickFry, is back in the building for a second consecutive week. Buddy, we missed you, man. Welcome back to the Side Sportscast.
It couldn't keep me away. Only a week.
Yeah, man. Listen, last week was fire. This week, we have some NCAA action to talk about. You see, we made some picks on this sportscast. And Wudi and I kind of got the final four down packed. And then we got the final two games down packed where it was Kansas versus UNC. And you know what? I don't care, man. Wudi picked Kansas to win. He picked against his heart because he's a Tar Heels fan, right? And look, he got that. But UNC should have won the game. I am really bothered by the fact they did not pull it off. Nick, what are your thoughts on the NCAA championship?
I agree with you. I had some money on UNC. Well, not really. I had like a bracket thing, and I didn't pick UNC at the beginning. I think I had Duke. But the way it would have worked out, if UNC would have won, I would have got third place in it, and I would have made like a couple $100. So I was, I had my Tar Heel hat on, but unfortunately they couldn't pull it off. And what I noticed just right away was obviously they were crushing it. There was 38-22 at one point.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were not playing offense. They were just sprinting at the basket and throwing up contested layups.
Yes.
That's what it seemed like they were doing the whole time. And what's his name? I'm not good with the names, but the long-haired guy on UNC. You know who
Brady
I'm talking
Manning?
about, with the beard.
Caleb Love?
No, the first one. The
Brady
guy.
Manning.
He got manhandled defensively by the guy on Kansas. I don't know his name either. I'm not good with names, but the forward, the bigger guy on Kansas, he manhandled him.
He did. No, he was getting bodied. He was definitely getting bodied.
He's a big guy, but he doesn't play like a big guy. That's why, because he's like a 2, but he's at the height of a 4.
The impact was noticeable when Baycott re-injured his ankle and he had to get out. They went right to work on it. Was barbecue chicken down there. They went right to the post and big man got a score, and it was on from there. It was hard. Like you said, UNC was up 38-22. I actually thought they were going to run away with the game. They were such a good team the whole tournament. They have 4 players that can go off at any time. Caleb Love, RJ Davis, Armando Baycott, and Brady Manning. They've all shined throughout the tournament. But Caleb Love was playing like he did not love the game of basketball. Like he was playing bad in the second half. He was off. I mean, you want to talk about having a Russell Westbrook type of game? Like that's Caleb was no love. I mean, it was bad out there. And I felt like in the second half, Kansas started to make a run, like to close out the first half and into the second half, they started to make a run. RJ got hot for UNC. At the beginning of the second half, he got a few buckets in a row. But then Caleb tried to get back in the game, and he just totally shot them out of the game. Kansas went on a run. Remy Martin was just hitting threes. And UNC they couldn't get back into it. It was too close, and it was a photo finish. Baycott got hurt, and unfortunately, the Tar Heels did not win their 7th national championship.
Well, both teams, I feel like, have been up and down, been pretty inconsistent all tournament. But I think Kansas's greatest consistency is their inconsistency. I mean, everybody was dogging them for being down against Miami at halftime, and they responded with a 32-point not deficit, sorry, but a 32-point lead in the second half, 47-15. They dominated to get that dub. Okay, you look at the final score and you would have no idea that they were in any sort of jeopardy at halftime. And they pretty much erased a halftime lead. It's a larger lead, smaller loss, but still it's the same second half magic. I mean, I think that's kind of what I was talking about in my preview video was, the veterans. Okay, these guys, they have a good coach in Bill Self, and they also have that spirit. They're dogs, they're old men. This is the end of the line. All those seniors, and I'm not saying that UNC doesn't have heart. I mean, those are my boys. Baycott, okay, to even be out there on the court after rolling his ankle, he came back in Coach K's final game, right, to make sure it was his final game. And then he was playing tonight and played his heart out. He was making a move, and, unfortunately that happens. But that doesn't mean that UNC still didn't have a chance. I mean, they pretty much were handed. I was literally hysterically laughing when my boy stepped out of bounds with 4 seconds left to literally gift UNC a beautiful opportunity to tie the game. 4 seconds, that's an eternity, okay, to tie up the game. And I don't know if I want to blame Hubert Davis, his first year as the head coach, but what was that?
There was no out of bounds play called.
Yeah, I don't, is that on him, or did his boys just, fail to execute that poorly, that it looked that bad? I saw Brady Manick, who is a solid 3-point shooter, he stumbled, so he was on the ground in the far corner. I don't know if that was the play to do some sort of misdirection and then hit him in the corner and he's on the ground, so they had to improvise. But that was ugly. To get gifted an opportunity like that, and that's what you do, it was tough.
Caleb was so clutch throughout this whole tournament, hitting big shots in big games. And I just don't think that was the right time. I don't blame Hubert, because this guy has been, playing at a high level the whole tournament, and he's got to shoot himself back into the game, right? I think if you get a do-over, I think Hubert Davis might do some things different. But like you said, the inexperience of the head coach. What's very interesting about this national championship is Hubert Davis succeeded Roy Williams at UNC, and Bill Self succeeded Roy Williams at Kansas. So Coach Roy Williams' hand was like all over this game, and he was in the crowd, but he was repping the Tar Heels. He had his Tar Heels mask on, and it was a crushing loss for sure. I really would like to see UNC come back. The brother of my guy Cam Johnson, Puff Johnson, is going to be a player to look at next year for UNC. We don't know. We talked about, me and Lauren talked about who can improve their draft stock. Baycott is looking like a surefire, first round draft pick. Caleb Love may enter the draft. I kind of hope he goes back to college for a year, but hey, if the agents say he can get drafted, he could be back. But if UNC can get Caleb Love back, RJ Davis back, they probably aren't going to get Baycott back. But then you bring in Puff Johnson, you got Walton, and then you got your freshman coming in. UNC is going to be back in this tournament next year, making some noise. But with all due respect, we got to shout out to the Kansas Jayhawks for winning their 4th national championship. One more interesting fact I have here. Remy Martin, actually, before he played at Kansas, he played for Arizona State. And in 2019, took out the number 2 seeded Kansas Jayhawks. And then in 2021, when they came back this last year, took out the number 1 Kansas Jayhawks. Then he joins Kansas and they go win it all. So if you can't beat them, join them. Well, actually, reverse that. If you can't beat them, go get them so you can go win it all. That's pretty much what Kansas did.
And it worked. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to the host on Side to Side that correctly predicted that, James Wudi. Always good to see him, just continue to be right most of the time. And on to the next accurate prediction, huh?
Do you know the spread of that game was Kansas -4? Do you know how many people lost money because the guy stepped out of bounds because they would have took 2 free throws? So, or vice versa. How many people won money because he stepped out of bounds because they had UNC with the points?
Wow.
And it makes you think, like, these people make these odds. It opened at -4, too. It didn't move. It maybe jumped back and forth with 4.5 or something like that. So they opened the line at -4.5, and the game was a 3-point game. Like, they're so good at their jobs. They know, like, you ever look at the spread before a game and then look at what the final score was? It's like, how did they know that? It's unbelievable.
I mean, it might be rigged.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, we're
NFL
about to talk about Steve Austin later, but maybe that's not the only thing that, we got writers in the back saying, hey, we need this to happen. They must have been like, oh, hey, have him step out of bounds. All right. It's just some crazy stuff going on.
A lot of people bet on UNC. I saw that 70% of all money line bets were UNC. But that makes sense because Kansas was the favorite. So if you bet money line, you're not going to get a good payout. So I guess that does make sense.
Yeah. And it really felt like UNC was, even though they were an 8th seed, it just felt like they were clicking at the right time. They looked unbeatable the whole playoff tournament. They were playing big time basketball. It's a shame to not see them win, but you can't take anything away from Kansas. Those boys were clutch, gritty, came back, hit big shot after big shot, grabbed clutch rebound after clutch rebound, and almost gave it away when they stepped out of bounds. But, luckily for them, Caleb Love was trying to be a superhero and pull up from the logo and didn't hit anything at all.
The last shot from the TV angle looked good.
Yeah, from the side angle.
It
but
did.
Then when you saw it later, it was way off.
Yeah, I actually thought it was good. Like when I was watching live, I was like,
right, yeah. Exactly. I thought we were in for an overtime. Now, with all the excitement in the NCAA tournament, the NBA has tried to simulate this in a way, and we are in our second year of the play-in tournament. Right now, we are in the final week of the NBA season. 1 week from today, on April the 12th, we are going to have the NBA play-ins begin. So right now, in the Eastern Conference, the 4 teams in the play-in tournament, if the playoffs were to start today, and it doesn't look like this is going to change much, but you got the 9 and 10, you got the 9th seed Charlotte Hornets against the 10th seed Brooklyn Nets. And then you got the 7th seed Cleveland Cavaliers against the 8th seed Atlanta Hawks. And then over on the West Coast, we have the 9th seed New Orleans Pelicans and the 10th seed San Antonio Spurs. That is a race. One more loss and the Lakers are eliminated. But then we have the 7th A seed. We have the 7 Minnesota Timberwolves, who had a very impressive year, against the 8th seed LA Clippers, who also had a very impressive year. Now, the 7th A seed, it doesn't look like that's going to change. That is going to be the match. But I just want to start off by saying, if you want to talk about these 8 teams, the teams that I am most impressed with has to be the Los Angeles Clippers. For that team to be 1 game under 500 today and in the A seed almost comfortably, if they win that, they may not win the play-in game, but they didn't have Kawhi all year. Paul George played, maybe slightly more than a handful of games this whole season. Norman Powell hasn't played. This team has been decimated by injuries. And if anybody wants to question whether or not Tyronn Lue can coach, no more questions. Tyronn Lue has his team competing. And I'm really impressed with them. But what do you fellas think about the play-in tournament that's to come?
Clippers are definitely impressive, for sure. If I'm hyping up or not hyping up, but pointing out one impressive team amongst the rest, I mean, the Cavs. I don't think anyone was expecting to talk about the Cavs. They were, rolling in the beginning of the year. Kind of been slipping. But that is kind of the case with all of the Eastern Conference teams that we're talking about, besides the Hawks, who are kind of trending in the opposite direction. They've won 5 straight. So there's a lot of exciting things going on. That race between those 4 teams that we're talking about is literally 2.5 games. Whereas when you go to the West, right, we're looking at more like 12 games, So when I look at the West, I don't know. I don't know if any of these 9 or 10s are jumping up and make it. I really think the loser of that T-Wolves Clippers game is just going to beat the winner of the other game, and now they're going to be in the playoffs for the East. Whew. Now this is where my claim of being correct most of the time is in some serious jeopardy. Because literally any of these 4 teams can beat any of the other 4 teams. But here's my pick. The 2 teams that currently sit at 9 and 10 are going to make the playoffs. That's what I'm thinking. The Hornets and the Nets. Okay, they got what it takes. That's my pick.
I don't think you're crazy, because most people would say you're crazy because you didn't take the Nets, but I don't think you are. I think teams 2 weeks ago, I think everyone was terrified of the Nets. Kyrie got the clear to play every game, you know what I mean? Because he wasn't allowed to play the home games for a while. And they looked like they were, they got Durant back, everything's looking good. I don't think teams fear them anymore because, yeah, Kyrie and Durant are probably going to combine for 70 a game against you. But no one else is going to score. And as long as you score over 120, you're going to win. And that's happening almost every game. They let up 120 almost every game. So I don't think teams are fearing them anymore because, yeah, Kyrie and Durant are going to have a day. And that's it. Just score more than they do and you're going to win because no one else is going to score. Drummond, since Andre Drummond did this, they're like 1-3.
Yeah, I did see that. But no, I was saying the Nets are going to win. I was actually saying the Nets would make the playoffs. I mean, you got to put some respect on Seth Curry's name. Seth Curry can drop 20 any given night.
Do you think Atlanta and Charlotte are going to make it or backwards?
No, I'm saying that Charlotte and the Nets, that's what I said, 9 and 10 are going to beat the 2 teams.
Okay, so I got confused because if you look at the standings right now, because Brooklyn won and Atlanta lost, they flipped. Tonight, though. Like, that just happened.
Well, that is super embarrassing, but yes, okay. So Atlanta, so they're not even on a 5-game winning streak anymore. I got your boys out here not even refreshing the page, but I'm still saying the Nets and the Hornets are out here. They are making the playoffs. I think they got killers on there. And the Nets, let's be real. I mean, they're not really locked down. If they get Ben, that'll go a huge way toward being locked down. Don't show you. Ben is a great defender. That's a true.
No, it's a fact. But Ben hasn't played all year. The worst thing they can do is put him out there with a brand new team right now with with everything on the line. I just think that would be poor roster management. Ben Simmons should not play a single play this year, in my opinion. But who knows? I don't think he will. But just to piggyback off of what you were saying about the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're still a dangerous team. They started to go on a skid when Jared Allen got hurt, and I don't know what his status is returning before the playoffs. It's possible. It's up in the air. But if he comes back, that is definitely a dangerous team to be drawing at the 7th seed. He's a big factor in their front line, especially when they go with the 3 7-footers. That's why Cleveland has been playing so well. But I actually agree with you, Woody. I think Charlotte somehow winds up in that 7-8 game. And there's going to be a different team, whether it be the Hawks. I would say maybe the Hawks finishing that 9-10 game. And then Brooklyn wins that first round. And then Brooklyn beats the loser of the 7-8 game. And I can see both Charlotte and the Brooklyn Nets making the playoffs. Now, I would love to see. Now, let's talk about these teams make the playoffs, right? So far, we got, Woody, you got Charlotte and you got Brooklyn rounding out the 7th and 8th seed, right? Obviously, Brooklyn would have to be the 8th seed. Then on the West, you have the Clippers. I don't know if you necessarily said. You said whoever wins.
I sure did. The Clippers and the T-Wolves, no doubt.
Okay, yeah. So both of them can win, right? Yeah. So even whoever loses is going to beat the next team. You did. You know what? I actually agree with that. I agree with that. Now, what would be your most intriguing first round matchup in the playoffs? Now, the way I'm looking at it is Miami is looking like they're going to hold on to the number 1 seed. There's 3 games left for them, and they sit atop of the standings in the East. And I think they're going to draw Brooklyn. And I actually think Miami can send Brooklyn home in the first round. It's just going to be all deep. Jimmy Butler is just going to lock in on the defensive end. And Bam Adebayo could arguably be the defensive player of the year. And what can Brooklyn not do? Play defense. So, this is one of those series where I don't know. It's going to be tough for Kevin Durant to get his team past the first round. What a disastrous year for the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, it's definitely been tough for them. For sure. Injuries, a pandemic, like they've been a trade, and then there's just been a lot of stuff going on. I still believe in them. I do think the trade made them better. We might have to wait next year to see that team. Yeah. I would never count them out. Again, Kevin Durant, if he wore a size 14 instead of the 15 that he wears, they might have been champions. So, my most intriguing matchup are 2 teams sticking with the same conference, but these are 2 teams that I think their fans were thinking that this was literally their year, that they were going to win a championship. Might not have thought that directly from the get-go, but there were definitely points, like maybe even the All-Star break, where they were saying, hey, this is it. I'm going with the 4-5 matchup, assuming that things hold up, in the Sixers and the Bulls. I mean, these are 2 teams that are talented, right? They got talent on the wings. They got talent in the post. I am not saying that, Vucevic is about to lock up Embiid or anything like that. But there are some interesting matchups for sure. And, the Bulls are still a little bit banged up. They just got Levine back. I mean, there's a lot of factors at play. I think both of these teams at full strength are dangerous, but Lonzo is Gonzo, and Harden softens in the playoffs. So, what are we going to see? What are we going to see? That's why I'm so intrigued. Will these guys who routinely crumble finally show up, or will it just be another crumble fest at that 4-5 matchup?
So my 2 matchups that I'm most looking forward to is, I'll start with, I'll do each conference. Starting with the West is the current. Now, I hope we have the same standings up, otherwise it'll be embarrassing. But if we have the same things, it's the 4-5 matchup here. It's Dallas and Denver.
Yes.
And the reason why, it's just like two studs going at it. Now, obviously, we know who they are. And history says that these teams do not perform well in the playoffs. I don't mean Dallas and Denver. I mean these teams that are just one-star driven teams that's not an all-around team. History does not go well for them. One of them's got to win the series if this is the matchup. So one of them's going to win the series and then go play Phoenix. And that's going to be probably the end of them, but you never know. Yeah, history says that, but that doesn't mean like it. There's a reason you play the games. You don't just go, history says you lose, so don't show up. Like you got to play the games. So I'm very interested to see what Luka could do in his. I think this is his fourth season, right? Yep. His fourth season, and what Jokic can do in his I think it's like his eighth season, but his fifth as an amazing player. And then in the Eastern Conference, I'm very excited for whoever ends up in the 7 to play Boston, because Boston is my early pick to come out of the East. And the reason why is because I have a conspiracy theory that they cheat. And that is on January 21st, Jaylen Brown tweeted out, things are about to be different. At the time, they were 23 and 24. They are now 49 and 30. What did they do? They just decided, let's start trying now? Like, they just apparently changed their defense, and it's worked. I mean, what is that? What is the math there? They're 26 and 4. No, that's not right. 26 and 6. 26 and 6 in their last 32 games. Something's going on in Boston, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
Something in that Boston Tea Party, man. They could be Larry's secret stuff over there that they're drinking.
Man, we just got a shout out to our guy CJ, because if he was on the cast with us right now, he would take the next 10 minutes to talk about this right here. But listen, the Boston Celtics did something amazing. They decided that they were going to play team ball in the new year. And the ball has been moving. One thing that they really did, and this is going to hurt them, Robert Williams is injured right now, but they would take Robert Williams and match him up like against whoever the opposing team's biggest scorer. They would just have him helping against that player because he's athletic enough to switch back and forth. And it was really dominant. It was dominant. They were looking like the best defensive team in the league since the new year came in. They're still good, but that is going to be something that we'll see. If the Nets get the 8th seed, I didn't refresh my standings when I spoke earlier. I still had Brooklyn in in that 9-10 spot, but they're currently in the 8th seed right now. And if they get that 7th seed, if they win that game and they get that 7th seed, that'll be it'll be a rematch from last year, because remember, they dominated Boston in the first round. I actually think Boston would empty the clip and really try to get that revenge. So I agree with you, Nick. That would be a great first round.
Do you have any idea what those fans are going to do to Kyrie Irving every time he touches the ball?
Absolutely. Yes, that would be that would be one heck of a series. Now, on the West Side, I didn't talk about my West Side pick. The most intriguing match for me would actually be, I'm going to have to say Golden State versus Utah. Now, Golden State is Steph going to be back? I'm pretty sure he's going to be back for the playoffs. But that, the Utah Jazz, they are crumbling. Honestly, if they lose in the first round this year, you may not see Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell back together next year.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
You will not see them. And this team has been good, but unfortunately not good enough. And this is like the worst draw you could possibly get. If I'm a Utah Jazz fan, I'm hoping that Dallas somehow winds up in that 3rd spot. Because I wouldn't want to see the Golden State Warriors. They look like, but I mean, it's so close between those 3 teams: Dallas, Golden State, and Utah. 3, 4, and 6, or they can, or 3, 4, 5, including Denver. those 4 teams could really finish anywhere 4 through 6, so or 3 through 6, I should say. So if I'm Utah, I just don't want Golden State in the first round. I don't want them in the first round at all.
I'm with you. You guys obviously know Bill Simmons. He said on his podcast I think it's called the Bill Simmons podcast, they did like a little draft on like who you would draft, like, and the criteria was guys that you wouldn't expect to leave their team who are actually probably going to leave their team this summer. And the first pick in that draft, unanimously by the 3 guys doing it, was Donovan Mitchell. So keep your eyes open for that. I think if the Jazz get knocked out early, might be out of there.
Come home to New York. Come home to New York, man. All right, my boys from Elmsford. All right, come to the Knicks. All right, playing the boogie down. The big
Don't they remind you a lot of like the mid 2000s Clippers? Like, we get it. You're in the playoffs every year and you lose. Like, we get it. Like, they're never going to take the next step, but we know they're not. Like, we know they're going to be in the playoffs, but they can win in the first round, but we know they're not getting to the conference finals, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
The roster's not that good, though. Like, the Clippers. Like,
it's not as good as the Clippers roster.
Well, the Lob City Clippers, like, they had a good roster. Like, I was all about it. I was playing 2K with them, just throwing alleys to DeAndre. It didn't even matter if he was open. He was catching them. He was Brandon Knight and everybody in the game. And in real life, they had depth pieces. Like, they were a good team. They're a really good team. The Jazz, man, I don't know. If I'm Donovan Mitchell, I look to my left. I see some 34-year-old point guard that's been overpaid the last, 7 years of his career. I look to my right. I see, a defender, right? And like that, that's my squad. Like, this is who I'm supposed to, carry to a championship. I just don't see it. He needs out. Come through to New York. Let us try to build around you, because clearly Utah's not doing it. They think that Gobert, they probably see Draymond and say, oh, yeah, somebody whose primary asset is defense can be, a key piece on a team. But Draymond's also a tremendous, facilitator. He is definitely also a tremendous locker room leader. He can do more. I mean, the only thing that Gobert has led was the COVID cases, right? Where, touching mics, playing games, being a goof. Okay. So, no, if I'm Donovan Mitchell, I'm right there with you in solidarity, brother. You need to get out that organization. Okay. They don't know how to build teams. They're paying Mike Conley too much money. He is old. Come to the Knicks and we'll build right around you.
There is an advanced stat out there where they broke down Donovan Mitchell's passes, not assists, passes per game. Guess how many times he passes to Rudy Gobert per game? If you haven't seen the stat, take a guess.
I have not seen the stat.
Twice. On average per game, he passes the ball to Rudy Gobert. Now, on paper, that looks bad, but I really think it's the design of because the power forward, what's his name? Royce Holiday? What's his name? The power forward in Utah? Name leaves me.
Isn't Royce's last name?
O'Neal, my bad.
Royce O'Neal. Yeah, sorry.
Royce O'Neal, right? He only passes to him twice per game as well. If you can't shoot a three, Donovan is not passing it to you. That's pretty much what it goes down to, what it boils down to. But I just think by design that team is flawed. They're good. They're a good team. That's why they're 14 games above 500, but they're not good enough to win in the playoffs. And there's really nothing they can do about it. Can the Knicks acquire Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah, that's what I was going to get into.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
so he's locked up.
Yeah, he's got money.
So if you want Donovan Mitchell, Wudi, you are the new GM of the Knicks. You have to give me, I'm the GM of the Jazz in this situation, you have to give me at least RJ Barrett, Mitch Robinson, and at least 2 first-round picks. Are you doing
what?
it? How else are you going to get him?
RJ, how is Julius Randle not the most valuable Knick? He's like an all-star.
He don't even look like
averages
he wants. He
20,
don't even look like he wants to play basketball anymore. He got paid and he's done.
I mean, but hey, he's averaging 20, 10, and 5 for the second consecutive year. Some Larry Bird stats over there.
But to answer your question, how's he not the most valuable? Is Randall was drafted 8 years ago now. He's already almost 30 years old. RJ's 21, and Mitch Robinson's probably, around the same? I would assume.
Mitch is like 25, probably 25, 24.
But I think you'd have to give them both. I think you would.
I mean, I don't know if we can do all that because that just guts my whole. Then now I can't build around Donovan like I just.
What if it was not Robinson, but you had to give me RJ and 2 firsts?
Well, isn't Mitchell Robinson a free agent next year?
Is he?
I think he is.
I think he is too, but I think he's restricted though. I think.
He is he's on his rookie contract. He's a restricted free agent.
I'm trying to get rid of Randall. I cannot.
I know you're trying to get rid of Randall, and that's why I don't want him.
And this is how the trades work behind the scenes. Exactly.
It is.
That's it.
I just think that RJ's made huge strides, obviously.
Definitely.
But isn't what you're hoping RJ ends up being is Donovan Mitchell? So why not just take him? You see what I'm saying?
Wow, that is some philosophical.
Isn't that what you're hoping he turns into?
I think RJ, and this might sound crazy. I might regret saying this, depending on how many people are watching this episode. But I feel like RJ has the potential to be a better defender than
definitely
Donovan Mitchell, and I mean I don't see him being a better scorer. But if he can give me 25-ish points a night, 25-ish, right? So that could be 23. But playing defense at a high level and rebounding at the clip, he's actually a great rebounder for a guard. I think that might be better suited for what I'm trying to get out of my starting shooting guard than Donovan Mitchell.
I don't think you're crazy. The only thing RJ has to work on is what if I told you RJ Barrett shoots at a lower percentage than Russell Westbrook?
I would believe it. Are you serious?
That's what he has to work on. He's got to work on his
efficiency. He's so inconsistent. He's unbelievably inconsistent.
I honestly think that the Utah Jazz understand that their star player is frustrated. And this is something that will drag out before they just press the button. I think the first thing they're going to try to do is they're probably going to let Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is going to be on another team next year, right? That's probably going to be the first thing they do. They'll probably try to bring in some help, see what they can do. If things aren't looking good, if they're like a borderline 500 team, the buzz around trading Donovan Mitchell is going to be super high come the trade deadline next year. And the Knicks will absolutely be a team trying to make that deal. And the Jazz are going to want the most they can get from their star, even if they have to leverage other contenders in trying to make that trade. So that's probably a really good scenario to keep an eye on for next year. But it's not going to help the Jazz this year. I'll tell you one more thing. The team that I'm afraid of most in the entire playoffs, as a Suns fan, is the Memphis Grizzlies, man. You hear it here. If the Grizzlies make it to the Western Conference Final and we make it to the Western Conference Final, I would not be surprised if the Grizzlies wound up winning in Game 7. That team is just a tough matchup for any team in the league. I think the whole league should be on notice. Don't sleep on Memphis. This team is different. They can win without anybody. You take somebody out of their lineup, whoever's coming in is still balling. It's ridiculous, and it's actually, if you just being a hoop head, I actually love it and respect it. I need Chris Paul to win this championship, man. You get a second chance to do it. Come on, Chris.
Yeah,
come on.
I don't know if he can though. No disrespect to your Suns.
Yeah.
No disrespect. That's not a Suns crack. Okay, Chris Paul
it's a low key crack.
No, what? There's nothing about the Suns. If Chris Paul was on the Grizzlies, I would say the same thing. I don't know if he has what it takes.
You called him CP2 last year. Then he went to 3 rounds. So how about that?
Okay,
It's
but
crazy.
that's not unique to the Suns. That's on the Rockets, loser. Clippers, loser.
Well, James Harden is
Hornets,
more of a
loser.
Doc.
Isn't it wild to think that 10 years ago Wudi, me and you and someone else whose name I will not mention, used to have an argument 10 years ago on who was a better point guard, Chris Paul or Darren Williams? And Chris Paul is still out here, possibly being one of the best point guards in the league still 10 years later.
10 years ago, I was taking Darren Williams, though.
Right? It's crazy how much times have changed.
And Darren Williams right now just out here just bodying Frank Gore on pay-per-view.
Yeah. Man, we're speaking of Darren Williams. We're speaking of Frank Gore. Let's go to the ringside and talk about some throwback names. We are recapping WrestleMania 38, where Stone Cold Steve Austin made an appearance after 19 years. The Rattlesnake came back. I had the privilege to be there and see it for the first time when the glass shattered. And he came out, obviously, him and Kevin Owens were doing their promo thing, and you knew Owens was going to get stunned. And it was a pretty cool moment. It was lit. But WrestleMania 38 was definitely an exciting pay-per-view. I don't know where you fellas rank it amongst your favorite WrestleManias. I would love to hear that. But where would you rank this past WrestleMania amongst your favorite of all time?
I don't there's a lot of them, so it's hard for me to list them.
So it's not a top 5.
38. I liked it a lot. It's very good, and I know you were in attendance, and I think you were, from what I hear, more down on the event than us, at least.
Yeah, see, usually WrestleMania is filled with some surprises.
I think that's because you were there.
Yeah, well, maybe because when you're watching it live versus when you're watching it on Peacock and they show you what's happening backstage, or like I didn't get to see the Logan Paul interview when he said F the Miz, when the Miz double. That was actually my favorite part of WrestleMania, because that was a surprise. I didn't expect the Miz to hit Logan Paul when they were raising his hand, and he hit him with his finisher. I didn't expect that. That was actually my favorite part. Like I like when the Miz does stuff like that. But this WrestleMania, it wasn't filled with like big. I guess their big surprise was Damian Priest coming out to the Edge match. To me, it wasn't one of my favorite WrestleManias. And then the promo of the greatest match of all time, like I super disagree with that. I'm a big Roman Reigns fan, but you can't have a greatest match of all time and have Brock Lesnar in it, and let alone against Roman Reigns. The two of them combined have like 9 moves, like 9 moves happen in that match. And it just, to me, I like that they unified the titles. I think they should unify the women's title. And my favorite performer of the whole night, though, was definitely Bianca Belair.
Bianca was tremendous. As she always is. She is elite. I think last year she proved actually that she can go toe-to-toe with anyone in the business. And she has proved it again this year. But to answer the question of where I rank this year's WrestleMania, it's not in the top 20. But it was definitely better than last year's. Say that again?
I said, okay, so it's the bottom 18.
Yeah, it's in the bottom 18 for sure. Yeah, it was better than last year. And could have been better than the year before that. But I would have to see, because I
definitely better than the year before that, 35.
It was definitely better than 35. Was one of the worst of all time. So yeah, cool. Definitely better than 35.
We were there. It was almost morning when we left.
Yeah. No, Austin was great. I actually also loved the Miz turn on Logan Paul. Logan Paul was tremendous in the ring. He was doing moves, all right, with great technique. All right, he was doing them safely with intensity. He was doing a tremendous job. I was actually shocked, especially with the stigma that these brothers get. They're arrogant. They don't care about anything. But in order to be a good pro wrestler, you do have to care, and you do have to show some effort, some heart, and that's what he did. He did a great job. So I was impressed there. Pat McAfee I'd already seen him wrestle in NXT, so I knew that he was about to pull up with some tricks, and he sure did. I have some tricks. He was probably the best of all the celebrity performances, even though I did love Wee Man slamming, body slamming Sami Zayn. That was super impressive. But I would have to definitely say Pat McAfee, Logan Paul, and then Wee Man, probably my top 3 for the celebrities. But Vince, honestly, the whole show, all right, WWE, was it the world of wrestling's elderly? That's what it is, okay, right? Because you just got all these old men all over the place, and none older than Vince himself, who literally, for some reason, thought that anyone could believe that he would, body Pat McAfee, right? He took 0 bumps. He's just clotheslining. Did the weakest punt I've ever seen in my entire life to Pat McAfee to, get him off the ground. Like that was ridiculous.
What was that?
I've seen my son. My son has no coordination, and he kicks harder than what I saw Vince just do. And then the stunner. Should we talk about it?
Stunner seen around the world.
The bummer stunner.
Yeah.
The bummer stunner. All these old men. I'm tired of it. It would be a real travesty to talk about this recap without talking about what was definitely intended to be the biggest surprise of them all, and that is the return of the son of the plumber, none other than the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. I like Cody. I respect him. I respect what he did. Okay. In 2016, he was not where he wanted to be, so he requested his release. He was a star, a bona fide stud on the independent scene. He literally created a company with other independent wrestling legends. And, now they had AEW, and that was all just to say, look at me, Vince. Come on, I'm a star. Can't you come treat me like a star now? And now they're paying him like a star. They treated him like a star. He retained every single aspect of his gimmick that made him a star in AEW. He's using it now in WWE. It's a shame that in his promo, all he was talking about was his father. I think that's a real shame, because he himself, is talented. You don't have to, mention, your dad every single night. But that's what he's doing. That's his gimmick. We all know The Rock, right, is 3rd generation, but he's not mentioning his dad or his grandfather every night. Same thing with Randy Orton. Same thing with literally any other generational wrestler. But Cody, I dare you to watch 10 minutes of Cody Rhodes in WWE and not hear the name Dusty Rhodes. It's actually not possible. So
I had 3 nitpicks with the night, or 2 nights, which I enjoyed them both. I find myself not really watching wrestling as much as I used to. I used to watch, as I mentioned last week, I used to watch like every week. Now I just pretty much watch WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble. I try to watch like the Money in the Bank or something like that. And then I always forget when the AEW stuff's on, because it's not every month. So I always kind of forget, but I try to watch those when I could. But my 3 nitpicks was, number 1, so Will, you probably couldn't notice this because you were there, but I don't know about you, Wudi. I was expecting Stone Cold at the end of night 2. I feel like they were setting him up for that.
That was clear. Clear.
But Vince,
wait, what made you guys notice that? Because being there, that totally caught me. I thought Stone Cold was done. Like, so that
what
part.
Caught me off guard was I was texting somebody, or what made me realize I was texting somebody and goes, "It's 2002 and Stone Cold, or 2022, and Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon have a match at WrestleMania." And I went, "Wait a minute, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon are both here." And then I saw him kicking his, beating his butt, and I'm like, "Wait, this is it. This is perfect timing." But Vince completely blew it, because Austin Theory's music started playing to signify like he won, and Vince went. He all shocked, as if because he was waiting for Stone Cold to come out, and I'm like, "Oh, he blew it. He blew it." And you probably couldn't tell that when you're there, but you could tell that on TV.
Wow.
That was number 1. Number 2 is, I don't know if this is, I'm not too in with the wrestling like technicality stuff. Did Austin Theory completely oversell the stunner? And is that a like a knock at Stone Cold Steve Austin, like when Shawn Michaels did that to Hulk Hogan?
Even my wife said that was super dramatic.
I think at this point, like, you know, everybody loves like The Rock sells, right? And, you know, Triple H sells. Now I think that's like almost like, you know, lore to, you know, who can do the most ridiculous sell.
That wasn't a knock to him, like when Shawn Michaels was mocking
Definitely
Hulk Hogan,
not.
right? Okay.
Yeah,
and the last thing is, Will, you touched on this already, that best match of all time, that was the 7th longest match of the event. There were 6 matches that lasted longer than the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match. That's supposed to be the best match of all time?
Yeah, I felt like they had to end the match early because I think Roman really dislocated his shoulder. So they were like, oh, pop it back in place. Let's end it now and go home. Like, you know, but again, this is, you know, this, I don't know. This WrestleMania 38, I feel like they really need to figure out what to do better.
That wasn't even the best Roman versus Brock match of all time.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
But all in all, I enjoyed I had fun watching it.
One of my favorite things, though, was the Pat McAfee pop. When Pat McAfee's theme song dropped, the whole AT&T Stadium went nuts. It was pretty cool to see that. That was cool. Actually, I wish he was a full-time wrestler. But correct me if I'm wrong. Elias, aka now Ezekiel, whatever you want to call him, right? Yeah. Didn't the crowd for him? Didn't they used to go oh? Didn't they do that with Elias?
Walk with Elias, like.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, Pat McAfee, this is cool. Like, you got the song, but the crowd is kind of like, I don't know. The crowd's kind of done that before. That's the only thing that I don't like. But I actually love the theme music. I love it. Like, it makes me wish that Pat McAfee was actually a really, really good wrestler. I hope he continues to get better because that's his dream. He has a little gimmick that could work.
Yeah, he's definitely talented, totally talented. One last thing I'll say about the weekend is that before this year, my pick, I think I actually made a list on side2sidesports.com of the 20 greatest female performers in the history of WWE. And I believe this person was number 3 on the list. Or no, sorry. She was 4 on the list, but she'd be 3 if I made it right now. That woman is Sasha Banks. She was actually winless in all of her incredible matches at WrestleMania. She's had quite a few, all right, but she has lost. As a matter of fact, her match last year with Bianca Belair was my pick for the best match of that year's WrestleMania. So she finally got her WrestleMania moment, winning a title in front of 70,000 fans. So shout out to the boss. I mean, she is the legit boss.
Oh, I'm a big Sasha Banks fan. She is. So her real name, like Mercedes Verano, is she's an actress actually, and she is in the Star Wars show The Mandalorian.
Yes.
She's actually very good in that. She's very good. So I'm a big fan of hers.
Shout out to the boss. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we always talk about how we break it down from the court side, the ring side. And now we're going to take it to the sidelines because we are getting close to the NFL draft and NFL free aid. This has been one of the most changing off seasons in NFL history. So many different moves. So many. Even you got quarterbacks on the move. You got retirements and unretirements. Then you got coaches moving from the sideline to the box seat, like, you know, like to the front office, I guess you could say. And you got players on the move. You got trades happening. You got players intending to sign in one spot and then saying, oh, you know what? Never mind. I'm going to take my talents over here instead. This has been a busy offseason, and guess what? It's not even done yet. There's still some great names in free agency and some potential trades that could be happening. Fellas, react. What is one of the biggest reactions you have to this offseason, this NFL offseason?
I think one of the biggest, the one move that has one of the biggest impacts on so many different things is Davante Adams, actually.
Ooh.
And for those of you in the Side to Side Sports channel or Facebook group, Stag had this hilarious meme. I was literally in tears when I saw it, when it was like, Davante, go long, and then it was he was like, all right, and he's like on a plane. But that's a really big deal because the Raiders, they were, everyone was kind of roasting them, right? Like, oh, Josh McDaniels, came here and now, they got Russell, Juju, the Chargers, reloaded. But then Davante, kind of has everyone being like, oh, well, that changes a lot, which it does. Davante Adams has been pretty close. He's actually been the closest thing to a consensus number one receiver in football as we've seen in a little bit of time. So to play with somebody that he already has tremendous off and on-field chemistry with, and Derek Carr, somebody who has kind of been on the rise. Derek Carr working with a lot less. When was the last time Derek Carr had a number one receiver? It was actually Amari Cooper. But he was, getting hurt, and that was a little bit of ways ago. Now he is with one of the absolute best. You still got Waller there. You still got Renfro there. The Raiders are looking great. Who's not looking great are the Packers. The Packers, I would kind of put them in the same scenario as like the Jazz, where they have a really good team. They make it, far, but they can never win the big one. And they lose in underwhelming fashion. Now, you just took away Aaron's biggest weapon. I mean, I really got to know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers, because I thought that the holdout was all about talent, coaching, everything. They got rid of McCarthy. Now he's looking for more weapons. He's looking for more tools around him. And instead, he takes, the largest salary of any quarterback, and Davante's gone, and he's going to show up and play. Is that what he's about to do? He's going to throw it to. He can't even throw it to Valdez Scantling, all right, because he's on the Chiefs. Alan Lazard, that's his boy. Like, he's throwing that out. Like, so I'm so confused there. I'm sure Kirk Cousins. I'm sure Justin Jefferson is grittying all the way right now, just in his house. All right, because now they have a serious shot to win that division. There's just so much, I would say, with those two divisions, and all 8 of those teams in each division, I think, are tremendously impacted by that one move.
I think the biggest move is the obvious one, and it's Russell Wilson. I mean, I think he is. It's crazy to say that this is true, but I think it is. I think Russell Wilson is criminally underrated.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like hard to say, like, why would Russell Wilson be underrated? Like, he's awesome. People don't understand how awesome Russell Wilson is. Like, 2 seasons ago, the guy threw 40 touchdowns. He's thrown over 30 touchdowns, except last year, every year for the last 5 years. So 4 out of the last 5 years, he's thrown over 30 touchdowns. He is an absolute stud. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And he goes to a team that was probably, we'll see when the season comes up, only missing a quarterback. They're pretty stacked outside of the quarterback, and now they have the quarterback. So I'm expecting huge things out of Denver, but you touched on the Raiders already. That division's a nightmare. I could see Oakland coming in last. I think they're projected to come in last, but they're projected to win like 10 games. Which is like crazy. They're a pretty good team. So that's wild division, and that's obviously a big change. And then the whole situation with Aaron Rodgers is a big deal. I think the Packers are almost like trying to prove to the world we can win with any receiver because Rodgers is good enough to make that receiver good, which, yeah, it's true, but win what? The division? Yeah, probably. But then what? Like, you're probably not going to win in the playoffs. Can you win in the playoffs without the good receiver against like San Francisco, let's say, or Dallas, or maybe like, I don't know who else is good. Who made the Super Bowl? Oh, the Rams. Like, can you beat them? Yeah, probably, but probably being able to beat them isn't good enough. Like, you got to be good enough where you know you can go out there and beat them and be better than them.
Truth. I'll say the move to me this offseason that changed the foreseeable. I mean, this move really changed things in the NFL for the foreseeable future. It makes it's going. You want to talk about? We all know quarterbacks get the lion's share of salary cap, but now with Deshaun Watson getting the first fully guaranteed NFL contract with cases pending, even though it looks like there's going to be no charges, but a suspension pending because he's with all of those charges, you can't, according to Roger Goodell's history, he's had to violate the NFL code of conduct. So there's going to be a suspension. $230 million guaranteed dollars paid to Deshaun Watson to be the Cleveland the Cleveland Browns quarterback. And here's what's going to happen. Every quarterback whose contract comes up now, when they go to the negotiation table, because listen, Deshaun Watson is talented, but let's be honest. His last year he played, the team went 4-12. That's not all his fault. Okay. The team was just not good. But the year before that, he basically had 3,800 yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 picks, 10-5 record, and he's got one playoff win to his name. So his resume is not stacked. It's not like we're talking about in Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, where they have these accolades on their resume. Every quarterback now is going to say, I want my contract fully guaranteed. The Browns respected this man with legal charges pending. You mean to tell me I can't get a fully guaranteed contract? Ladies and gentlemen, you need to win while your quarterback is in their rookie contract, because it is going to be a mess now going forward. Every quarterback, when their contract comes up, the negotiations are going to be outrageous, all because Cleveland made this big trade for Deshaun Watson and gave him the first fully guaranteed NFL contract. I just think that's such an overlooked thing that's going to have a extreme ripple effect in future free agencies.
Deshaun Watson is definitely a big deal, but I just can't have you just slandering Deshaun.
When did I slander him?
So, no, because Deshaun Watson, first of all, one of my biggest gripes is how somehow, some way, wins have become a quarterback stat on a team in a team game. I mean, and this is where now you start playing the if he was on this team, if he was on that team. We got to look at the talent, the ability. Deshaun Watson can literally pretty much do it all on the football field. Okay. He has the second highest passer rating in the history of the NFL for his career. I mean, this is a talented guy. And you want to talk about a team who feels like they are a quarterback away. It's been the Browns. There is no team in the NFL who has done a better job building around their rookie QB than the Cleveland Browns. They gave him not one, but two tremendous running backs. They gave him one of the best offensive lines in football. They gave him one of the best defensive lines in football. All right. They got shut down corner. They have everything that you would need. What they don't have is a competent quarterback. So what did they do? They broke the bank. That will not be an issue again. Now they got your boy, Amari Cooper. You probably need somebody else because I don't think Donovan Peoples-Jones is that dude. But they did what they got to do. It's definitely a huge league-altering trade. The guaranteed money aspect is definitely something that's worth looking at. Because I completely agree there. Will there be any other selfless QBs like the great Tom Brady to take that pay cut like he's done every single year to be able to build around him? I don't know. We know Aaron Rodgers isn't that guy, but let's see if maybe one of these young guys can do that.
Really
well, that's my point. I'm not slandering Deshaun. I'm saying that contract is going to force different conversations because let's face it, Deshaun is a great talent, but he's played. Well, his career record is 28-25. He's played. Do the math, like close to 60 NFL games, and yes, quarterbacks should not be held to the win and loss record, but for some reason that is the narrative, and it's going to continue to be the narrative. People just believe that if your quarterback is good and being paid, who needs talent around you? You got the quarterback. Look at Aaron Rodgers right now. They're like, yo, we're letting everything go. We got Aaron, so we got a chance. And then like our guy NickFry just said, yeah, you have a chance, but really, how good is that chance? This is just the NFL we live in now. And players pay attention to other players' contracts. Look at Lamar Jackson. He's a free agent right now. His resume is arguably better than Deshaun Watson's. Now, who's more talent? I think Deshaun Watson is a more talented player. But Lamar is coming to the table. I won an MVP. I've been the league MVP before. I got that above Deshaun Watson. He got a fully guaranteed payment, a fully guaranteed contract. Where's my contract? And this is the conversations that are going to be taking place. Wait till Joe Burrow's contract is up. Woo! Lord, it is going to be nuts. And it's all because of this contract right here. And it's not just because it's Deshaun Watson, but Deshaun was given this contract despite the controversy around him, which I think that the Cleveland Browns did their homework. And, I actually applaud them for not being afraid of what's going on. But other players out there are definitely going to take note, and it's going to cause a ripple effect. But to the sensitive James Wudi, there was no Deshaun Watson slander in my
I think that over the years, since we've been watching like football, however many years it's been, it seems like every March everyone says this is the craziest offseason ever. This year, it actually is. It actually is. Right? It actually is. This year actually is the craziest. Like Tyreek Hill, Russell Wilson. Like I can't even. I'm sure Devontae Adams. Like the list goes on and on and on. Like so many guys switch teams. It's like, and not even most year. Like a guy like Amari Cooper. He's a good player. He's pretty almost a great player. Maybe some would say. Guys like that switch teams every year. It's not often that you have guys like Tyreek Hill and Russell Wilson switching teams.
Oh, absolutely. And Tyreek Hill single-handedly almost beat the Buffalo Bills because those plays that he made at the end of the game, you got to pay that man. You got to keep that man. But this is the wide receiver market is also – wide receivers are getting paid what we were complaining about quarterbacks getting paid a few years ago. The free agency mark, you got to draft, man. I don't know how the Rams are going to sustain success, but – for them to be in cap trouble, they keep acquiring players. I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know how they're doing it.
Bobby Wagner, 50 mil. Like, what are they doing? Like,
somehow the Giants have the least amount of cap in the league. The least. They're negative. I don't understand. We don't have any good players, so we have negative cap. The Rams are somehow chilling with money. It makes no sense.
Gettleman, man. You got the least amount of talent and the least amount of cap. That is unbelievable.
I'll be honest. When you wrote NFL changes, and I thought we were going to talk about change, I thought we were going to talk about the new rule, the overtime rule.
Oh,
we sure can.
Was that not on the agenda?
We can talk about it. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. Personally, I agree. I mean, let me stay consistent with my original thoughts. Look, football, you got to win it in the four quarters. Once you get into overtime, you leave it up to chance, right? You should have won the game in the four quarters. I'm very old school. But the NFL is going less competition, more entertainment. They want the game. They want the fans to be entertained. It's a big money-making business. Let's give both sides a chance in the playoffs. And I'm not against that. If neither team scores with their opportunity, then it goes to sudden death. That's it. There shouldn't be no more conversation after that. You can't keep getting chance after chance. So I'm good with it because it's just for the playoffs.
So I actually go ahead, James.
No, I was just gonna. Because that last sentence, I actually don't like that it's just for the playoffs. Like I feel like there should be a consistency. Like every game should have the same rules. Like I feel like that's actually almost outrageous that it's different rules. But I do, as I said when it happened, that the rule had needed to change for years. So I'm glad that they did it. It's devastating that the travesty had to happen to Josh Allen, and that takes a lot to say as a Jet fan. But it was a travesty that happened to Josh Allen and those Bills that it took to make this rule change. But they didn't really go into too much detail. So that means that if someone, if the first team comes down, they score a touchdown, now the second team could score and now get a 2-point conversion for the win. Is that how?
I think, or they can get a touchdown to then make it sudden death.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, to then make it
like if they get a touchdown and an extra point, it'd be a tie game. If they go for 2 and get it, they win.
Right.
Oh, okay. So just how I said. So yeah, okay. First team goes down 7. Now the next team goes down 8. Victory.
Yeah,
but trust me,
I actually disagree with the rule.
Okay.
I think the rule needed to change, but I don't think this is what it should have been. I think the rule should just be the college overtime. I think it's incredible. It's so exciting and fun to watch, and why we do overtime the way we do. And first of all, why are there ties in the NFL? It's so silly. I get why, because you can't have the players going forever. Someone gets hurt, I get that. But I just don't like that they changed the rule to this, because I think we're just it doesn't really change much. Like the scenario is so rare that it's barely going to make an impact. And yeah, it sucks what happened to the Bills, but you got to play defense. You let up 30 points in 2 minutes. You got to play defense. I know it's hard. I know Patrick Mahomes is good, but they really let up a game's worth of points in the last 2 minutes.
No, that's true. And I agree. I feel like the college rule is the best. And I do feel like Big Brother NFL has too much pride to say, you know what? Let's just use the college rule. So they're trying to keep it traditional when the college overtime is the best version of overtime. I 100% agree with that. But hey, player safety is supposed to be everything. And they've added a 17th game just to prove that it's going less competition, more entertainment. Let's extend the season. Player safety is everything. Let's extend the season. Now, player safety is everything. Let's extend overtime. Let's give both teams a chance. So now I know Wudi disagrees, but I do like that it's just for the playoffs, because this is it. There's no more, this is win or go home here. But if that were the rule in the regular season and, you're putting people at risk for another possession, to me, that's just a bit absurd. But hey, we're looking at Vince McMahon might take Roger Goodell's job in the NFL. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully not, because he ran the XFL. Well, he didn't run it anywhere. It's been trash.
The revival was actually pretty good. I was watching the revival until COVID messed it up.
Isn't it weird that The Rock is business partners with his ex-wife? Or is it only me who thinks that's weird?
Hollywood, man. Hollywood is different. Hollywood is just so different. I do want to say this, and then we're going to have our guy NickFry give us a trivia question. If there was one underrated move, and I want to hear your guys' opinion, I'll give you mine first. One underrated free agency move. I'm going to say Mitch Trubisky being the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I actually think this is going to work. It's amazing how the players in Buffalo respect Mitch Trubisky. They have tremendous respect for him. And that says a lot for a guy that was playing backup quarterback. I watch out for Mitch Trubisky in Pittsburgh. he didn't play enough college games to start right away in Chicago and do so successfully. So that didn't work. But now he's had a year to really sit behind. And I think this is going to work. That's my underrated move of the offseason.
I got one. Yep, I got one. And maybe it's not underrated, but I feel like it is because no one has talked about him since they said, "Oh, this was the move," and then no one's talked about him. But I think that this man is a great. I think he is top 10 in his position. Not anyone would probably agree with me right now. And his season last year is doing him no favors, but he plays in a position that is completely dependent on another position. So we can all guess, right? What position is that?
I got a feeling you're saying the same person as me, so I'm interested.
Oh, that's possible. That's possible because he is. This is about to be the re-emergence. This is the first time that he is not playing with Blake Bortles. That he's not playing with Justin Fields rookie year, trying to learn a whole system. Nick Foles not playing with bums. Okay, he is playing with a solid, not Hall of Fame, even though mainstream media wants to believe that he is because of recency bias, but still a very talented quarterback with a big arm. We are talking about Matthew Stafford. Allen Robinson is ecstatic to be there, and I'm sure Matthew Stafford is too, because now you have that perfect blend, okay? You have the speed, all right? Van Jefferson been taking the top off the defense since he got there, okay? Now you got that. Cooper Kupp, maybe the consensus pick for fantasy receiver 1. And Allen Robinson, okay, that's somebody who's going to move the chains time in and time out, all right? He has just suffered. He has suffered his entire career playing with guys who maybe I can throw a better ball than. Blake Bortles, let me know, okay? Matthew Stafford, he is going to revitalize Allen Robinson's career the way that Sean McVay revitalized Matthews.
That's very touching.
Very touching.
Mine is the same position, but a different player, not as good. So I've been very, very hard on Mac Jones recently. I think that he was exposed at the end of the season and really let them down at the end of the year, and especially in the playoffs. And that's why my answer is Devontae Parker. I think he's going to help him a lot, and it was much needed. And I think the Pats really needed a guy like that. And if you're a fan of a team in the AFC East, which I know, James, you are just hoping that this does not turn into another Wes Welker type player where it's like, he's a nobody, let him go, and then he ends up being a stud.
You already know every Jets corner is quivering right now. That's why a lot of my cohorts are trying to draft Sauce Gardner for some help because I'm not. I said my cohorts. I clearly did not say myself, but we definitely need some help. We definitely need some help for sure because we're facing Diggs 2 times a year. We're facing Devontae Parker under Belichick 2 times a year. And then the entire cluster of Miami Dolphins, just Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, everybody that they got going on over there. That's 6 games that we're just getting run on by great receivers. And that doesn't even include the tight ends like Mike Gesicki running out there, just bodying my linebackers. So it's not a great time to be a Jet fan.
Well, with those 2 picks, man, you can do something about it. And Sauce Gardner should be in play. I'm a big Sauce Gardner. This guy is going to be a shutdown corner in the NFL, and he's got the speed to run with these little quick guys too. So,
But would you take him at 4 though? I feel like 4 is high, but he won't fall to 10. That's why I'm not pushing for it.
My thing is this. You need to draft a position that helps you compete the most in your division, first and foremost. You can't put a label on the position. If you need a cornerback because everybody's got elite receivers, you get the best one in the draft. Now, obviously, I mean, if you need a quarterback, that's priority. But this is not the draft for quarterback. You got Zach anyway. Offensive line. That would be a position that I may take over corner, but I wouldn't be afraid to pull the trigger on Sauce if necessary. But speaking of pull the trigger, our guy NickFry, what do you got for us to close us out? This is going to be a sudden death match between Wudi and myself. One question, one winner, one answer. I said it backwards, but you get what I mean. And I'm trying to even up the scores since he picked Kansas and I picked UNC. I need to get in the win column. Let's go.
And I won last week's Trivial Pursuit.
Unfortunately, though, there's 5 answers.
Oh.
So here we go.
Oh, all right. So let's do it this way.
Whoever just goes
back, like we just go back and forth. Just back
whoever gets more answers,
right,
or
cool.
however you want to do it. So
no, but I'm saying like he says one at a time, then I say one at a time, then he says one at a time, like that.
So he goes first because you won.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, champion's advantage. I guess it's not a thing, but okay.
No, like when you score in basketball, the other team gets it.
Oh, okay.
I actually learned recently that until I forgot what season, they used to do a jump ball every time someone scored.
Oh my God, that had to have been back in like the Wilt Chamberlain days.
Way back.
Yeah,
but here we go.
Before Wilt, maybe.
The history of the NBA. We got a basketball question today. In the history of the NBA, there have been 5 players ever, 5, who have gotten a season of 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists as a rookie. Who were those 5 players?
LeBron James, absolutely won.
That is one. So does he keep going?
No, what? No, we was doing 1 and 1. Like,
all right,
because
so
then I would have no like. Yeah, we gotta make this even.
All right, yeah. One of us gonna have 3 answers.
Yeah, exactly. To win.
Hey, let me see those hands. Let me see those hands.
Yeah, hands up. Hands up.
I'm gonna go with Magic Johnson.
Incorrect.
Ooh. I'm gonna go with Luka Doncic. I got 2 points.
That is 2.
Oh my gosh! And I knew Luka was 1, but I don't know why I did that. I literally knew Luka was 1. Ooh, gosh! Wow, that was such a bad move. That was such a
While
bad
you were
move.
thinking, I'm going to tell you why Magic was incorrect because I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I gotta go quick anyway.
I don't think he averaged 20
he didn't have the points. He had the rebounds and the assists.
Yeah. How many points did he average?
18.
18. What do you?
Yeah, he's looking it up.
Yeah, are you serious?
My hands are
up. Hands up.
My hands are up. I know Magic.
Okay, all right. Let me
feet up.
Oh, this is definitely not right, but I'm gonna go with Michael.
Yeah, Michael's right.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you didn't say that the first time.
Yeah, low key. I didn't think you were going to say that. That was my next answer.
So I think you guys got the 3 easier ones, I guess.
So we got LeBron, we got Luka, we got Michael, and 25 and 5.
We got 2 more left, and 1 is retired. Well, they're both retired. Excuse me. That's what I meant to say.
All right, they're both retired. That's what I thought. Okay, because one guy
great to get the clue for Will's
25 and 5.
We both had 2, so I get the clue.
Did he average 20 in his rookie year? I think he did. I'm going with Grant Hill.
Incorrect.
Oh,
that's a great guess.
The next hint, which is the last hint, is 1 is retired, 1 is retired. Like 1 is long gone, and 1 is like he's just not playing anymore. I don't think he's dead. He might actually. Don't quote me. Don't quote me.
Okay.
He might be.
Okay, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Oscar Robertson.
That is correct.
Ooh.
So now, perfect. 2-2. That is the one who is retired.
Dang, that is.
He's 83 years old.
How did I not guess that?
So now the last one. There is 1 more player. He is a retired player. Average 25 and 5. First one to get it is your champion.
He averaged 25 and 5 as a rookie.
I'm so excited.
I actually 25 25-5 as a rookie. I'm gonna go with Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Wow.
Incorrect.
Oh,
I feel like you know.
I don't think he had the assist.
I feel like you know. You're about to say it.
Do you think I know? Nah.
Yeah, the way you were acting made it seem like you were so excited to answer.
Oh no, I was just excited because it's tied up. Like I just love the intensity. I am gonna go with. I feel like this is definitely wrong, but I can't really think of somebody right now. I can't focus. I'm gonna go with. I don't want to say it.
Go ahead. What's the word second half?
Allen Iverson.
Incorrect.
Hey, I didn't average 5 boards.
I know. That's
Wilt Chamberlain.
Incorrect.
No, he would have been. He's retired.
That's what I was saying. How did Wilt not average 25-5?
I'm gonna find out.
Oh my gosh.
Wilt probably didn't have the assists. Yeah, he did not. Only 2.
Oh wow, he wasn't passing the ball at all when he was a rookie.
And AI was close. He had 4 rebounds. He was very close.
Okay. I feel like the only other person I can think of right now definitely did not average 20 points in his rookie year.
Yeah, I know who you want to say. You might be right.
No, stop that. Get out of here. Get out of my head. Oh my gosh. I can't even think of people right now. I literally cannot think of people that have to be retired. Oh, this is a horrible guess. But yeah, now this is a real bad guess, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Brandon Roy.
That's what I'm gonna say instead. I have it loaded up, ready to go.
Wow. 25-5 as a rookie. Dang. This guy is retired. I actually had a name at the top of my head, and that buzzer erased it from my memory.
Maybe if I play it again, it'll come back. Like in the cartoons, you get hit twice with the frying pan, you get memory back.
Man. Oh man. I want to say this, but I'm not confident in this answer because I know it's not it. I know it's not it. This dude is retired. Yeah,
I'm staring him right in the face right now on his basketball reference page. So if you look in my eyes closely, you could maybe see the reflection.
Man. So it's definitely not the guy that I was going to say.
Why?
I just don't think he would be on the basketball reference. I don't think he would be. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to just go with it, man. I'm going to go with Dominique Wilkins.
Tim Duncan.
If you need to throw in the towel, we could do that.
Nah, man. Who averaged 25-5?
All right, give us
Vince Carter. Oh, I thought you was gonna press something different.
Actually, I don't have a correct thing.
All right. Let me
Well, I think I can put that on the soundboard. I think that's the point of it. You can get sounds.
Man,
we coming up on we might have to call it a tie.
We might, yeah. What? This is horrible.
So you get one less guess. So maybe you get 2 more and he gets 1 more.
Yeah. And after this guess, give us like either small forward and below or small forward and above.
Okay.
And with my guess, this is so random. Nah, I can't even do this person.
Oh, excuse me.
You know what? This is.
That was my guess.
Will. I think Will has it. Because I definitely don't. Because this guess is outrageous. This guess is absurd. Oh no. Okay, Antonio McDyess.
It was like 2 assists rookie year.
You seem like you have it.
Yeah.
For your final guess, but I have
Well,
to tell you,
I'm between two players that play for this
small
team.
forward and below.
Small forward and below.
Yep. It was a 1, a 2, or a 3.
Oh. Back to the drawing board.
In his rookie year, I'm going to have to go with Dr. J.
Oh, you're really not feeling the whole retired versus retired concept, huh?
I mean,
Oh no. Sorry, he doesn't have the point. Sorry. So I'm making some ridiculous sounds on here for the MP3 listeners. I apologize.
MP3.
Oh yeah, that's embarrassing too. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I literally, I'm gonna have to go with the person who I was thinking before. I'm not saying him, and it doesn't matter because this is the last one. Was Dwayne Wade, but I don't think he had 20 points. So I am gonna go with another guard. Because I can't think of a small forward that's retired that might have done this. But is it a small forward? Point guard. I'm going to go with – I don't think he was this good his rookie year.
Let's hear it. The people at home are getting bored.
Baron Davis.
that's a good guess.
The answer was Dwayne
Wade. Yeah.
No,
when you said Wade, I was like, that had to be it.
It wasn't Wade. Wade had none of the things needed.
Wow.
I had none.
This player played in the Western Conference. He won when he did this, he won Rookie of the Year. Well, that's pretty much a given, right? If you have that kind of season, you win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, definitely.
He did it for the Sacramento Kings in 2010. Tyreek Evans is the answer.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Oh,
well, he's back. He's actually not retired.
He is not in the NBA, but he is. Okay. Yeah. He didn't retire from basketball, but he's not in the NBA.
Tyreek.
He's eligible to be picked up by it. He's actually trying to get back into the league.
Yeah.
But I still wouldn't have got him. That was a phenomenal question.
He's on the Wisconsin Herd, but then he was waived.
Oh, he's a bum now. Tyreek, listen, man. All right, so Wudi and I tied. I still got to beat you, man. I owe you a W or I owe you an L. Like, I got an L. I got this, whichever. You get it. But, hey, our guy, NickFry, thank you once again for coming through the Side to Side Sportscast, man. Don't be surprised if we have you on here again, man. We're going to have a whole trivia session coming soon this spring. It's going to happen.
5 more, and I'm past Jordan.
Here we go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want you on the Sportscast to call it how you see it, call it how you saw it, and call out those who didn't see it how you saw it. Let's talk about what you want to talk about in the sports world. Until then, me, Wudi, our guy NickFry, we out.